It started with a scream, a blood-curdling, bone-chilling scream that echoed through the dense forests of northern Minnesota. It was the kind of sound that made the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, the kind that sent an unnatural chill down your spine. Matt and his two friends, Chris and Daniel, were deep in the wilderness, miles away from civilization. They had heard the stories, the legends of the Wendigo, a creature that lurked in the shadows, preying on those who wandered too far into its domain. But they never believed them. Until now. Because that scream? It wasn't human. The three of them had been hiking for hours. What was supposed to be a fun weekend getaway had quickly turned into something unsettling. The deeper they went into the woods, the more they felt watched. Trees stood like silent sentinels, their twisted branches clawing at the sky. The wind whispered through the leaves, carrying strange noises, low growls, rustling footsteps, the faint sound of breathing. "I don't like this," Chris muttered, glancing over his shoulder for the 100th time. Matt rolled his eyes. "It's just the woods, man. You're paranoid." But Daniel wasn't so sure. "Then how do you explain the footprints?" They all froze. Right there in the dirt, just a few feet away, were massive footprints. Not human, not bear, something else. They were elongated, clawed, and deep. Too deep for any normal creature. The air grew colder. The silence stretched longer. And then, the smell hit them. It was rancid, rotting meat, decaying flesh, something foul and unnatural. It made their stomachs churn, made their eyes water. Chris gagged, covering his nose with his sleeve. "What the hell is that?" he whispered. And that's when they heard it. A voice. A deep, raspy voice calling Matt's name. Matt's blood ran cold. His heart pounded so loudly he could hear it in his ears. "Did you guys hear that?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Chris and Daniel nodded, their faces pale. It was coming from the trees. But it wasn't just a voice. It was his mother's voice. "Matt, help me. Please." Only Matt's mother was over 100 miles away. "Run!" That was all Daniel managed to say before they all took off, crashing through the underbrush, desperate to escape whatever was out there. But the forest was endless. The deeper they ran, the more it felt like they were going in circles. The trees blurred together, the sky above turned darker, and the wind howled with unnatural force. And then, the growl. Low, guttural, close. Matt turned his head just in time to see something move. A shadow, impossibly fast, darting between the trees. It was tall, grotesquely thin, with glowing red eyes and long, bony fingers. Its mouth stretched too wide, filled with jagged yellow teeth. The Wendigo. Chris tripped. He hit the ground hard, his breath knocked out of him. Matt and Daniel skidded to a stop, their eyes darting around. The woods were too quiet, too still. Then, slowly, the creature emerged from the darkness. Towering over them, its hollow eyes locked onto Chris. It let out a sound, a horrible, ear-piercing screech that sent Matt and Daniel stumbling backward. Chris tried to scramble to his feet, but the creature moved too fast. Its clawed hands wrapped around his ankle, dragging him into the shadows. "Chris!" Matt lunged forward, grabbing his friend's arm, but it was too late. The Wendigo yanked him into the darkness, his screams fading into the cold night air. Then, silence. A suffocating, deathly silence. Matt and Daniel stood frozen, their bodies shaking. Chris was gone. Matt and Daniel didn't stop running. They ran until their legs gave out, until the sun began to rise. Somehow, They found their way back to the main road. But Chris was never found. Some say the Wendigo took him. Others believe he became one. But Matt knows the truth. Because sometimes, when the wind is just right, he can still hear Chris's voice whispering his name from the trees. And he knows, deep down, Chris is still out there, watching, waiting, hungry. What do you think happened to Chris? Could he have survived? Or did he become the very thing that took him? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you love spine-chilling horror stories like this, make sure to subscribe to Ghost Story 2.0 and hit that notification bell. You never know when the next terrifying tale might drop. And trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until next time, stay safe. Or at least, try to.